Good Monday morning. Thanks for joining us, or Monday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and things look a little bit different today. Again, I'm not on the green screen, but we have meteorologist Martin Larimore on the green screen today, and he will be joining us very shortly to break down why we have all of this hail and wind during our summertime pattern. And it's very active. As you can see on the board right now, we have so much activity ongoing across Wisconsin and Illinois. We now have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Chicago. As you can see on my screen right here, this is warned for golf ball size hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We also have a tornado warning farther back, and let me just continue to zoom down. Let's get in real close here. Oops, sorry about this. I'm doing this on my computer, so you're gonna have to bear with me for just a minute as I figure this out. All right, we have a tornado warning from Lombard to Darien, highlighted here in red. This goes for the next, let's see, when does this end? It's moving to the east at about 30 miles an hour, goes until 12:45 today. So we've got another 40 minutes on this tornado warning. However, I do think that they will allow this to expire before that 40 minutes is up, and then we may have a new one as this area of storms continues to track to the east. It's not the only action happening right now. We have a lot going on across the U.S. Take a look at this. We have a confirmed tornado highlighted here in pink in Appleton, Wisconsin. Now, again, this goes until 1 p.m. We've got another 55 minutes on this confirmed tornado warning. And let me tell you about this. This is actually, let me give you some more information on this. This is actually not a tornado warning. This is a hail warning for destructive hail. This is coming from the National Weather Service. They're saying 3-inch size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts for this storm in Kanakuk. Kanakuk, I'm not quite sure I'm saying that correctly. I'm going to zoom down so that you can see your area. Appleton, Cockinaw, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Sherwood, Stockbridge, Hilbert, and Chilton all included in this warning. This is, again, PDS tornado warning and some very large hail, 3-inch size hail. Tornado warning remains in effect until 12:45. And they are saying this is a particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. Again, a damaging tornado and 3-inch size hail. It is a radar confirmed tornado, so that we can see, from radar that this is a confirmed tornado in Appleton, continuing to move to the southeast at about 40 miles an hour. So things look a little bit different today because of this extreme weather event that is going on right now. Let's zoom out and let's look at other places on the map that are also under a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, let me tell you, earlier today, we had a 3-inch size hail report in this area near Algoma. I hope I'm saying that correct as well. It's on the northern side, far northern side, northeastern side of Wisconsin. We've got another severe thunderstorm warning into Milwaukee at the moment. This will expire here pretty soon. But this storm has a history of producing some really large hail, tennis ball size or even larger, just to the west of Milwaukee. So we have a lot going on right now. Again, if you are in the Appleton area, make sure that you take cover. Another update here for outside of Chicago. So in the Chicago metro, outside of Chicago proper, again, an ongoing tornado warning right now, moving to the southeast at 20 miles an hour, but we have a brand new update here of 2-inch size hail. Some massive hail in this area from Illinois, northern Illinois, all the way through the eastern side of Wisconsin. As always, make sure that you put your weather questions in our chat. We can see your chat here on the side of the screen, and we'll try to get to as many people as we can because we know we have ongoing active weather right now, but I want to make sure that we talk about what's happening later on today as well. So let's switch over here and let's talk about what's happening later on today, and we'll make sure that we go back and forth to make sure that we can get an eye on the radar just every now and then. As I mentioned already, 3-inch size hail already reported. That is larger than the size of a baseball. That was reported up in Wisconsin, who got an early start on storms today. Tomorrow, we have a hail risk for Denver. It's a very, very stormy week in Colorado, but we are watching for more storms across the Denver area. And of course, we are in this summertime pattern. How are we getting all of these storms in this summertime pattern? We'll have meteorologist Martin Larimore break that down for us here in just a few minutes. So your active radar right now, I showed you this, but on a different view just a minute ago. You can see all of those hail reports out there. Confirmed tornado in the Appleton area, Appleton, Wisconsin. And then we've also got a few more hail reports just across the eastern side of Wisconsin and Illinois. Now we do have some ongoing severe thunderstorm watches as well. Those highlighted in yellow, and some tornado watches also in effect. So we'll keep an eye on that. Excuse me, severe thunderstorm watches. I do not think we have a tornado watch in effect right now, but we do have a tornado warning, 2 tornado warnings ongoing right now. So what we're going to do here is, because we are we're watching active radar and we're also forecasting for this afternoon, what we're going to do is we're going to jump back and forth. So you guys let us know where you're watching from, and we'll try to go back and forth from your location to what's going on this afternoon. But right now, I want to make sure that we are just continuing on with the forecast. You know, over the last 24 hours, we've gotten a lot of storms across the Minnesota and Wisconsin area. We'll talk about why we are staying so active in this area over the next, in just a few minutes. Meteorologist Martin Larimore will join us here in just a few minutes with that answer. Right now, we have a level 3 enhanced risk from Chicago all the way into the northern portion of Indiana. That's an area that I want you to keep an eye on today. We've got a level 2 risk from Illinois, the southern side of Illinois to the southern side of Indiana, northern side of Kentucky, and the central portion of Ohio. Storms will not only produce this massive hail risk that we are seeing right now, but we will also see a tornado and a wind risk as we head into the evening hours. Wind actually is something that I want to keep an eye on as we get later on into the day. We're going to see a switch over at some point from this large hail that we're seeing right now to more of a wind risk later on today. We also have a slight risk highlighted here in yellow for the northeastern portion of Colorado to northwestern Kansas, the western side of Nebraska, and western South Dakota. So we have a lot going on today. Tomorrow we head up to the East Coast and Denver in that marginal storm risk for tomorrow. That's a hail risk. You guys know what I always say about those marginal risks. Don't ever underestimate a marginal storm risk. And we could have another round of storms as we head into the middle portion of the week. So let's get right into that hail risk here for Wisconsin all the way to Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. You can see highlighted on the board, we've got lots of yellows and oranges on the board today, showing that we could see some pretty significant hail. And we've already seen that, right? Countless reports of 2-inch, 2.5-inch, and even one report of a 3-inch size hailstone today. We have another severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning for still 3-inch size hail. It's massive hail. And very often, very few times, do we get a warning for 3-inch size hail. Now let's overlay the radar, because we see what storms are doing now. What do we expect them to do later on today? So you can see that we've got some ongoing severe thunderstorms right now across the eastern side of Wisconsin and Illinois. Now, as these move off into the Great Lakes, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to be more of a Michigan problem. Hail, high wind, and tornadoes all possible across this area as we head into the evening hours. I think that we've got some questionable storms over here on the western side of Wisconsin, eastern side of eastern side of Iowa, and western side of Illinois, right in this area where you can see my mouse right here. This is an area that I want you to keep an eye on, because I think that we've got more of a cap over here. We've got some warmer temperatures as well that I'm pretty questionable about what's going to happen with storms today. But I told you guys earlier to keep an eye on this corridor from Indiana all the way up to the southern side of Michigan, right in here. I think that we could see some very, very strong storms, and I think there's a higher promise right in this area for strong storms today. So this is an area that I really want you to keep an eye on for not only large hail, strong wind gusts, and several tornadoes. These storms will continue to sink to the south as we head into the evening hours and into the overnight hours tonight, finally making their way into southern Ohio and the northern side of Kentucky and West Virginia. That will be more of a wind threat, and we'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes. But I want to show you exactly where your hail threat is for today. Got some updates to this hail threat. Okay, let's zoom in here. So we've already seen some large hail just to the north of Green Bay, just outside of Milwaukee. We got that 2 and 2.5 inch hail report. Chicago, you have some storms that are moving into your area that have already produced 2-inch size hail. Very, very impressive. Grand Rapids, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis. This is an area right here. You see that hatched area that I'm watching very closely for more activity as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. The farther east that you go into places like Detroit and Columbus, the lower those hail sizes are going to be, but the higher that wind risk is going to be. So your maximum forecasted hail size today, I'm not going to lie to you, I had this at 2-inch size hail earlier, and these storms have overperformed. They have exceeded expectations. So just before the forecast, we upgraded that hail risk from 2 inches to baseball size hail, if not larger than that, for your maximum hail size today. Very, very impressive hail risk. We also have a tornado risk highlighted here in green for Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago, where we have some active storms ongoing right now, Indianapolis, and Fort Wayne. As I mentioned earlier, there's some questions about what exactly is going to go on in the western portion of Illinois, so that has been removed from the tornado risk. So if you saw the severe storm prediction center's risk earlier, Peoria was included in the tornado risk. They are no longer included in that tornado risk. So it's really going to be more of an Indiana and southern Michigan threat for today as we head into the afternoon and evening hours later on today. I see a few questions or comments on the side of my screen over here. We've got Anthony watching from Appleton. Make sure that you are sheltering right now. We have an ongoing PDS tornado warning in that area. Fred Jones from El Paso, Texas, where it's just boiling hot today. I mean, make sure you drink lots of water, Fred. Now, before we move on, I want to go back to the radar, and I want to make sure that we are not, neglecting our active storms right now. We still have an ongoing, highlighted here in pink, that is where your eyes should go first, PDS tornado warning just to the south of Appleton. So Appleton officially released from this tornado warning, but still under the severe thunderstorm warning that is warned for 3-inch size hail, just massive hail. Stockbridge, Chilton, all included in this PDS tornado warning for the next, I think this goes until 1 o'clock. So make sure that you are sheltering if you are anywhere inside of this pink polygon. And let's check on this Chicago storm. Okay, brand new update to this tornado warning that's just outside of Chicago. This highlighted in red is a brand new tornado warning. It's radar indicated, so nothing indicated that it's touching down yet. It's moving to the southeast at 30 miles an hour, and we could see some hail with this as well, but the main threat here is going to be that tornado. 2-inch size hail, that's what it's warned for. 2-inch size hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts for this area south of Lombard into Darien, Orland Hills, New Lenox. This is in the northern side of Illinois. If we kind of zoom out here, you can see exactly the area of the country that we're looking at. Again, just to the southwest of Chicago. So here, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to bounce back and forth. We're going to go from radar to our forecast, radar to our forecast, just back and forth, back and forth. But another thing in addition to the hail and tornado threat that we have ongoing right now is going to be that wind threat today. So let's get to that wind threat. I've got a graphic for this. You guys know I've always got graphics for things. So I've got a graphic for this wind threat that's highlighted here in this dark blue color. That'll be your strongest winds today. 75, 80 miles an hour are possible from strong winds, especially as they sink farther down to the south into Indianapolis, Columbus, and Detroit. Probably have some of the better chances for those strong winds this afternoon. I've actually highlighted a few more cities on the map as we zoom in here to Grand Rapids and Fort Wayne. These are areas that I want you to watch for some ongoing storms all the way into the afternoon and evening hours. One area that we have not talked about quite yet are those storms across the western portion of South Dakota, central Nebraska, and northwestern side of Kansas. Now, we could see some spotty showers and storms today. Valentine, Nebraska, with a better chance for some very, very strong wind gusts and large hail. I don't think that every storm in this area will go severe. It won't be anything like your severe risk in the Midwest. Better chances for severe storms will be pretty spotty in this area, but still possible. So we're still talking about it. And last but not least, we have not talked about the southern side of Arizona today, where Tucson is included in that wind risk. But other than that, I'm not too worried about your severe risk today. So a lot going on across the country. Let's get to your timing here. Now, I've already kind of talked about the timing for the Midwest, but again, spotty showers and storms likely across our plains today. We've got another risk for storms across Denver tomorrow. Let's actually go back over to the Midwest. We're going to zoom out and give you more of a wide view of storms. So we're going to see this ongoing line of storms, and then we've got a line of storms across the eastern side of Wisconsin and Illinois. This will continue all the way into the afternoon and evening hours. So it's 4 o'clock, right? So this is what your future radar says, 4 o'clock. You've got storms right through the middle of Michigan. These storms will continue to sink to the south as we head into the evening hours. The sun goes down and it is an all-out wind and tornado threat through this area. Ohio with that main wind risk after the sun goes down, and then a tornado and a wind risk through Indiana. Storms will likely continue into the early morning hours tomorrow and even into the afternoon tomorrow as we shift our focus tomorrow to the East Coast. So there's your severe forecast. Do we have any questions before I hop off and turn it over to meteorologist Martin Larimore? Let's check our questions. Fred Jones says 108 in El Paso today. Holy moly. Anthony, yeah, we're saying be safe, Anthony. You've got a very, very significant storm in your area right now. Make sure that you're safe. And then a few other saying good morning or good afternoon, I guess. It is officially afternoon on our comments section. Okay, I'm going to toss it over to meteorologist Martin Larimore, who is in studio today. Now, Martin, we are seeing all kinds of activity across the Midwest right now, which is pretty common for this time of the year. Can you give us a breakdown and why we normally see more of these wind threats than hail?
Yeah, I mean, what we usually see this time of year, there I am, I just popped into existence. So what we normally see this time of year is we do see a drop off in our hail risk. I'm saying that it kind of makes a little bit less sense now because we're seeing a 4-inch hail, 3-inch hail going on. But overall, we do see a significant drop off in our hail potential versus springtime. Climatologically, we usually see a pretty significant fall off of our hail risk, but the wind risk doesn't really go anywhere. It actually stays pretty equal as we head into July. It's not until August where we see a full drop off of your severe weather potential across the nation. Now, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at two different things that is the main driving factors of spring versus summer. First thing is your jet stream. Now, this jet stream during spring is very strong. You've got a very large gradient of these temperatures. So you've got, temperatures in the 70s, maybe the 80s into May. Meanwhile, up toward Canada, parts of the Pacific Northwest, you got temperatures in the 40s, maybe even sometimes in the 30s. So you've got about a 40 to 50 degree temperature difference between the northern, this air mass here to the north of the jet stream versus the south. Meanwhile, as I'm a little too far there, but as we go into our summertime, this jet stream does two things. One, it weakens because we have a less of a temperature gradient here, but also it moves north. So what happens is we get temperatures, 100 degrees, 90 degrees throughout the summer, but we're still sitting at the 70s, maybe 60s on the cooler side. So we're going from gradients of 50 degrees to 20 to 30. And that's what really powers that jet stream here. So that is the big thing. And we usually see a lot less shear. So positioning, shear, a lot of that a little bit lack of moisture up in the northern part of the North American continent. So a lot of that limits that hail growth, but it's also just as we get into our summer, what does it in general do? It gets warmer. So really through the springtime, we have a very thin warm layer. This is up in the atmosphere, down at the surface here. This yellow line here is that freezing line that we normally do see. So we have this hail growth zone right here. It's much lower in the atmosphere. It allows the hail to grow much faster. We don't need extreme updrafts in order to get any of this hail growing. But as we get into our summertime, this freezing line moves up. We start seeing a much thicker warm layer, very hot, and that freezing line goes all the way up. So that hail growth zone, much, much higher than the springtime. So we see that spring versus summer pattern. We have, again, limiting the freezing line, but also, you know, when we're talking about the jet stream, it's just overall limiting the shear that allows that hail to grow. So many different things really limit that hail during the summertime, but obviously, as we're no doubt seeing right now, Taylor, we can still get very large hail even in the peak of summer. So we're gonna go back to Taylor, more than likely talking more about what's going on over near Appleton, Wisconsin with that tornado and also more of that hail going on.
Going tornado, PDS tornado warning just to the south of Appleton, Wisconsin now. Now, Appleton proper has been released from this tornado warning and the severe thunderstorm warning, but I popped up a more very specific radar on my end. This is actually what our meteorologists here at HailTrace use. And you can see that this is telling us all kinds of different information about the ongoing storms in Wisconsin. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to show you where in the US we're looking at. Okay, so here's Wisconsin, zooming down into just south of Appleton, now including Oshkosh, Winnebago, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Stockbridge, just north of Pike. So we've got two warnings highlighted in pink. This first one that's to the left on the west side, it's a confirmed and extremely dangerous tornado that was located over northern Lake Winnebago, or 10 miles northeast of Oshkosh, moving to the south at 35 miles an hour. That is information coming from the National Weather Service, who are creating these warnings for you. Now it's moving to the south at 35 miles an hour, and they're saying this is a particularly dangerous situation, a PDS tornado warning. It's confirmed on radar. We're not quite sure if we have any actual eyes on this storm quite yet. But I'll tell you, the wording from the National Weather Service is something to take very, very seriously. They're saying you are in a life-threatening situation. Flying debris may be deadly to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed. Considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles very likely. And complete destruction is possible. Very intense wording coming from the National Weather Service here. Now they're saying that other locations impacted by the tornado include Winnebago, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Neenah, Brothertown, and Black Wolf Point. Again, if you are included in these pink polygons, these pink purple polygons right here, make sure that you are taking extreme precaution, going to the middlemost point of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, because this is a tornado on the ground. And as the National Weather Service said, is a very, very dangerous situation. Now I'll show you what you're looking at on our screen, because I know that there's a lot going on here. On the upper right-hand side of our screen, this is going to be normalized rotation. It shows us some significant rotation that's ongoing in the storm right now. But what I'm really looking at is storm relative velocity, which is in the bottom left-hand side of your screen. That's also showing us, so anytime that we see these greens touching reds right here, that's how we know that there is very intense rotation in this supercell. And then on the bottom right side of your screen, you can kind of barely see it here. I can actually move my camera over, and so you can get a better idea of what I'm looking at here. This is correlation coefficient, and oftentimes it shows us the debris lofted into the air. So we know that this tornado is on the ground because debris is being lofted into the storm. And anytime that we see these greens and blues on the radar, we need to make sure that we are taking this very seriously, because that means a tornado on the ground, which is how the National Weather Service can classify this as a tornado on the ground. They have confirmed that via radar, but I do not think that we have any eyes on this storm quite yet. So again, we're going to continue with this pattern of jumping back and forth from the active storms that are going on right now, the radar, and of course storms later on today. Because as Martin was talking about, we have this very interesting setup, a very complicated setup of hail, wind, and tornadoes in the summer, which we usually don't see. It's a level 3 severe weather risk today, and I think absolutely well identified as a level 3 severe weather risk because of the ongoing activity right now. Now I'm going to switch over radars because I want to zoom out and I want to show you guys a zoomed out version, maybe, of my radar here. How about now? How does that look? So what you're looking at here is you're looking at those 2 tornado warnings, but we've got another one that's ongoing right now. This is another tornado warning near the Darien, Bolingbrook area, Homer Glen, Orland Hills, and New Lenox. This is again going to be in the northeastern side of Illinois, just outside of Chicago. Again, another tornado warning ongoing, moving to the south at 30 miles an hour. This is warned until 1:15, so we've got another 45 minutes left on this tornado warning. In addition to the potential tornado in this system, we are also watching for some large hail. So this entire area, do you see this larger yellow box right now? This is a severe thunderstorm warning that's warned for 70 mile per hour wind gust and 2-inch size hail. So just slightly smaller than the size of a baseball. And that does include Chicago. So some very intense situations ongoing across the Midwest right now. As always, let us know where you're watching from today, and we will make sure that we're answering questions in your area. But let's go back to the graphics now. And let's talk about storms over the next few days, because this is not our only severe weather risk. You know, obviously this is going to be our biggest severe weather risk today, and probably this week, maybe even this month. I mean, this is pretty significant, especially for July. This is something that we would see, you know, in the late springtime, maybe early June, late May type of setup. This is pretty impressive. We've got another round of storms expected for tomorrow in the Denver area. Despite this high pressure system, we've just got a little shortwave that's moving through. That'll be enough to produce a lot of rain in this area and a little bit of hail. Let's go to your hail forecast for tomorrow. Taking a look at this, well, we've got some whites on the board. Could we get any yellows out of this? Ooh, there we go. Okay, so there's a little bit of hail in the Denver area tomorrow. Right along into the east of I-25 is where we're watching for the most significant storms. And if we overlay our radar on top of this, you can see that storms will start in the afternoon hours, right around 1 o'clock in Colorado. Storms will continue as we head into the afternoon hours, growing more numerous as we progress later on into the afternoon. 3, 4, 5 o'clock, storms will be crossing I-25 and eventually into the eastern side of Colorado, where again, one of the main risks that we're watching for tomorrow will be that large hail. Not every storm will go severe here. It's a marginal risk, so it'll be pretty isolated. But I have a thing about marginal risks. You can't underestimate a marginal risk, because even if it's just 1 or 2 storms that go severe, they could cause a lot of impact if they are in the right areas. Denver, Colorado Springs, maybe Greeley, Colorado could get that 1 severe thunderstorm warning, and we could get some hail out of that. So we are watching for that tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm not expecting it to be an all-out outbreak like we're watching for today. Again, we have a level 3 severe weather outlook today. That is an enhanced risk highlighted in orange. We've got a level 2 on the southern side of Illinois and Indiana today, and then across the plains. Tomorrow, we turn to the East Coast for our next round of storms, and then also across Colorado, which I just talked about. And then on Wednesday, we have a round of storms across the northern plains. I do think that we'll stay in the plains in the Mississippi Valley as we head into Thursday. All right, jumping back to our live radar right now, what's going on across Illinois? We had that initial tornado warning expire in Darien, so now Lamont, Homer Glen, Orland Hills, and New Lenox all included in our new tornado warning, one that I had talked about just a few minutes ago. If you're wondering about hail today, well, hail has been reported across Illinois and Wisconsin. 2-inch size hail just outside of Chicago. Could we consider this the Chicago metro? I think that we can. It's between Chicago and Naperville. 2-inch size hail has been reported in this area. It was reported by the public. It's an MPing report, so I wonder if we could get more of an official report. We've also got 72 mile per hour wind gusts in this area as well. So not only some large hail, but also some very strong winds. This storm is moving straight to the south, or maybe just slightly to the southeast. It has a brand new tornado warning on it. This tornado warning goes until 1 o'clock this afternoon, so we've got another 28 minutes included in this tornado warning. And now back up to what we've been watching just over and over and over today, this PDS confirmed tornado. This tornado warning goes until 1 o'clock. So again, we've got another 27 minutes left on this. It's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado that was located just outside or east of Oshkosh. So you can see Oshkosh on the board right here. So this is going to be along Oshkosh, if not just slightly to the east of there. And if you're outside of this tornado warning highlighted there in pink, you could be inside of the severe thunderstorm warning. That's highlighted in yellow with that black line around that yellow box. That means that it's pretty significant. And it's so significant, it's warned for 2-inch size hail. I can tell you that it looks like this storm is maybe starting to disorganize a little bit because we hopped down from 3-inch size hail to 2-inch size hail. Still very, very large hail in this area. From Neenah to Sherwood, Hilbert, Stockbridge, and Chilton, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for significant hail sizes, 2-inch or even larger. The National Weather Service over here is saying that the thunderstorm damage threat is considerable. So that's their words. They're encouraging anyone outdoors to move inside, not just if you are included in this tornado warning. If you're included in this entirety of the severe thunderstorm warning, highlighted there in this yellow box with that black outline, you need to go inside. So here's what the National Weather Service is saying. They're saying anyone outdoors should move to a shelter inside a well-built structure and stay away from windows. This storm is capable of producing dangerous hail and damaging winds. That's coming from the National Weather Service in Wisconsin, zooming out so you can see exactly what we're looking at today. Now we're starting to see our kind of second round of storms. Technically, it's still this first line of storms, but you get a little bit of a break as these are crossing the lake. And then all of a sudden, back on land, we've got another round of severe thunderstorm warnings. And we're already kind of starting to see that as they slowly move into Michigan. So in Michigan, we have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 2:30 Eastern time. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-sized hail. So we've got another 55 minutes left on this severe thunderstorm warning. And I think that they're warning this so far out because they know that it's coming. We're just waiting for those storms to get there. They're giving people plenty of time in this area to go inside and take shelter from the storm. We have a brand new hail update moving down to Tinley Park. Tinley Park with golf ball size hail coming from a trained spotter. So earlier we said that hail report, that 2-inch size hail report was coming from the public. And I was wondering if we could get a more credible source for these hail sizes. And we did. A trained spotter has reported golf ball size hail in Tinley Park. Very, very impressive. And I wonder exactly where in that storm it came from. I'm interested to see if we can get any pictures later on today. Okay, any other weather questions? Sarah is saying hello on YouTube. Thanks, Sarah. As always, we covered the entirety of the US, so let us know where you're watching from today. Okay, let's switch back over to our graphics. Let's continue with your forecast here. As we mentioned earlier, we are under this high pressure system that's sitting across places like Oklahoma, Colorado, and New Mexico. This high pressure system will kind of do a little dance in this area, bouncing from Oklahoma to maybe up to Wyoming, Nebraska, Texas, kind of bounces back and forth in this area, but overall stays in the same general area. What does that mean for you? It means that it's going to stay hot in your area. And then every now and then we'll see some low pressure systems come down into our New England states, mid-Atlantic states, and across the Midwest. And that's what's going to keep us very, very active across these areas as we head into the end of this week and early next week. You can see that we still have some activity ongoing, especially with this deepening ridge on Saturday. That could be very, very impressive for storms on Saturday. Moving on to some of our other weather hazards out there, fire weather outlook for today, but it looks like we have relief coming for tomorrow. A little bit of rain across Kentucky over the last 24 hours and across Alabama What about the next 24 hours? Well, we already talked about that rain across the Midwest, across our New England states, and then eventually across the Mid-Atlantic. Other than that, it is hot today. We have heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in place all the way from Oklahoma up to Wisconsin and Illinois that we've talked about today. So not only are they dealing with those severe storms today, they're also dealing with the extreme heat. And how hot will it be? Taking a look at your 5-day temperature outlook from Oklahoma City to Dallas, obviously those southern cities are going to be some of the hottest, getting above 100 to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, on Saturday. Still some extreme heat across places like Denver, Chicago as well, dealing with those warm temperatures. And moving on, still talking about temperatures. I've got a lot of graphics about temperatures today. Yes, it's staying warm across most of the US. You can see that all of those areas highlighted in red means that temperatures are above average. So even if your average for this time of the year is 95, maybe it'll feel like 100 or 105 in your area. So very, very warm for everyone who's not getting storms. But if you are getting storms, let's go back and let's check on the radar one more time before we hop off of here. As always, let us know where you're watching from, because we'll continue to keep an eye on storms. We have meteorologists that are standing by. They're not standing by. They are actively mapping storms right now. They are mapping that large hail for you. They're mapping those ongoing tornadoes as well. You can see that we've got still a confirmed tornado just to the east of Oshkosh. This storm is moving to the south at 30 miles an hour. It's a radar indicated rotation, so I don't think that we have anyone on the ground that has officially seen this. And I honestly, with this embedded circulation, I think it would be very, very difficult to see this tornado. Right now, what you can't see from the radar right now is that this is actually, the circulation is actually over a little lake. So if I remove the radar, look at that. This warning is actually over a lake. Still, everyone on the outskirts of this lake, they have to be aware, they have to be sheltering right now. This is still a very, very dangerous situation. Anytime you see these warnings highlighted in pink, that is a very dangerous situation that you need to take very seriously. Tornado warning. Just to the east of Oshkosh. This severe thunderstorm warning highlighted in yellow is still warned for 2-inch size hail. Very, very impressive, especially for this time of the year and this part of the country. We still have an ongoing warning for Chicago as well. Let's take a look at that warning. I think this will be for wind and hail, but the National Weather Service is saying the hail in this area very unlikely. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Maybe getting some hail on some of these pockets of this storm, but I'm very, very doubtful about the large hail in this area. We haven't seen a report of large hail for quite some time from this storm. We had that 2-inch size hail right here, just to the north of Darien, 2-inch size hail report. But that was back in, I think that was about an hour ago that we got that report. Let's see. Yeah, about 35 minutes ago, whenever we got that report. So we haven't seen any other reports coming from this storm. I would say maybe some hail in this area near Lamont, but I would be very skeptical if we got any large hail in the Chicago to Blue Island area, Summit area. I would say probably some smaller hail in this area. And that's a look at what's happening right now. Do we have any weather questions? We've got some reports on our YouTube. Chipper is saying that we do have major damage in Appleton, Wisconsin, and shut down on I-10. And Orlando Park heads up. Yeah, so again, what Chipper's referring to here, and we appreciate your reports. We always appreciate your pictures as well, is referring to this area near Appleton, Wisconsin, where we did, not anymore, but just a few moments ago, we had a confirmed tornado on the ground, no longer a tornado warning. I told you guys earlier that this was looking very, very disorganized, and I wasn't sure how long it would stay together. And it looks like we're slowly starting to see the National Weather Service back off on these warnings, and they're saying, okay, the threat is no longer as severe as it was earlier. So we're going to slowly start taking these down, and that's what we're starting to see. However, still what remains is the damage that these tornadoes or these storms brought just an hour or 2 hours ago. So ongoing rain in this area, maybe some ongoing hail as well. This severe thunderstorm warning is still warned for 2-inch size hail. However, we haven't gotten a report in this area for quite some time, so I'm a little skeptical about how much hail we'd actually be getting from this storm. It's a little hard to see. It's difficult to tell on radar because it is so disorganized. I do think we could see a little bit of hail in this area. There's your radar. Any last minute questions? We've got one report, hail in LaGrange Highlands. So this is an area that I kind of wondered about earlier. So this is very helpful. Thank you for your report. Let's go down. I hope I'm saying this correct. Is it LaGrange? Is that how I say it? And that is just outside. How large is the hail? I'm very curious about how large your hail is. I mean, the storm or the National Weather Service has still kept severe thunderstorm warnings in place. Oops. We had one 2-inch size hail report in Westmont near Clarendon Hills. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning for Chicago, Hastings, Lamont, Justice, Bridgeview, all included in that severe thunderstorm warning. We also have a tornado warning near Orland Hills. This is moving to the southeast, just outside of Chicago Heights. We're getting an update from our meteorologist here, guessing that there's some pretty big hail falling between Homer Glen and Orland Park, at least golf balls. So again, that's what we've been telling you that the severe thunderstorm warning is for. So to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at here, we got that report coming from YouTube about hail in LaGrange Highlands. You can see that on the top side of your screen. And then our meteorologists also saying that probably we're seeing some golf balls in between Homer Glen and Orland Park. This is an area of the thunderstorm that I identified earlier as most likely area to get hail. And then as you head farther into Chicago, you probably don't see as much hail in this area. I think that we'll see absolutely more hail farther back to the west over here. Any other weather questions here? And John, if Martin is in the studio still and wants to hop in with his mic, you can do that as well. We're also getting a report from Neenah, Wisconsin, with some damage too. Yeah, I think that was under the tornado warning earlier. We have a brand new tornado warning highlighted here in red for Pipe, Mount Calvary, Fond du Lac, and Eden. Fond du Lac just recently got hit with a ton of hail less than a month ago. 3-star hailstorm over there. That's mapped at HailTrace.com. And then we've got another tornado warning down here on the northern and northeastern side of Illinois. Hey, just heads up, Indiana, you're going to slowly start to see these storms come into your area. So if you're in the Maryville, Lowell, DeMont area, you guys are going to want to keep an eye on the radar because over the next, 45 minutes, these could become your problem as well. And Martin, I heard you pop in just a minute ago. Tell us, Martin, what you are hearing from your side of things, or if there's anything on radar that I'm missing as I go over this here. We've talked about so many severe thunderstorm warnings here, and most of these for some sort of significant aspect of the storm, right? Tennis ball size hail on the far southern side of Wisconsin, going into northern Illinois right now. We've still got this severe thunderstorm warning right here, warned for some large hail, I think, and a tornado warning moving into Fond du Lac right now.
Sorry, my mic was giving me fits. Yeah, that's still warned for some pretty large hail. Last I'm seeing right now is still almost baseball-sized hail, which that's significant. That tornado warning near Fond du Lac and the surrounding severe thunderstorm warning is being warned for. Actually, we're already seeing the transition over to wind. They're now bumping up the winds from 60 to 70. So now we've got almost baseball-sized hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds with this severe thunderstorm warning that encompasses Sheboygan, I believe that's correct. Ben's going to correct me if I don't. Plymouth and Fond du Lac, as well as Mount Calvary. So those are the three cities that are in this severe thunderstorm warning there.
Yeah. So we're seeing, so the one that Martin's talking about, everyone, is going to be the severe thunderstorm warning right here that's on the far eastern side of Wisconsin. It's moving at about 35 miles an hour to the southeast. We've got tennis ball size hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts associated with this. And this severe thunderstorm warning goes until 1:30 Central Time. So 1:30 is about 40 minutes from now. These storms just slowly making their way off the coast. So we're still dealing with these, and we're even seeing some redevelopment farther back into Oshkosh. Just back to the west, we may continue to see more warned storms as there's just more redevelopment back here.
We've had already several reports of two, and we do have a picture that we're working on right now that does show 3-inch hailstones. Very large, larger than a baseball for sure. And this one was over at Coleman, Wisconsin. So we've had some very large hail already. Obviously, the reported tornado. We've seen video of the confirmed tornado on the ground. It was a very large tornado that did occur. I believe that we have heard reports of damage. And our lead mapping meteorologist was actually saying that debris was being lofted as high as 20,000 feet.
Wow.
If you use that as a kind of a direct measurement of power, that's roughly an EF2. That's from our lead mapping meteorologist. So very powerful tornado for sure as it made its way over Appleton. We were actually watching the radar. It had a extreme gate-to-gate velocity. It was very impressive as it wrapped around, right around as it made its way just west of Appleton.
So this storm that Martin's talking about here, for everyone who didn't join us earlier whenever we were tracking it live, is this PDS tornado warning that is no longer in effect. But about an hour ago, or about 50 minutes ago, this moved through Appleton, Stockbridge, Sherwood. So as you can see, we progress this radar that happened about 30 minutes to 50 minutes ago. You can see the storm moving through these areas. At one point diving to the south and then slowly disorganizing. And now, while we don't have a tornado warning in Appleton anymore, we do have a tornado warning highlighted here in red for Pike, Mount Calvary, Fond du Lac, and Eden. To kind of go over what else we've seen so far today, this happened in the morning hours where we saw this 3-inch size hail report just to the south of Sturgeon. Now, this is in the Algoma area. 3-inch size hail is absolutely insane. But while that was going on, or shortly thereafter, we also got tennis ball size hail. Just trying to see the largest hail size over here. Tennis ball size hail, 2.5 inches in size in the Oconomowoc area. There's no way I can be saying that correctly. I apologize for my pronunciation of these towns, but tennis ball size hail is what was reported in this area. We've got lots of reports from quarter size hail in these areas as well, on the southern side of Wisconsin. And then just outside of Chicago, you can see that we had a 2-inch size hail report. I would still say this is the Chicago Metro. It was between Chicago and Naperville, the size of an egg. And then shortly after that, we saw golf ball size hail. So while hail was not supposed to be the main threat for today, it still has been one of our biggest threats this morning and early this afternoon. We do have officially a reported tornado. A trained spotter has reported a tornado in the Orland Park area, where we think that we're still getting some golf ball size hail in this area as well. Large hail, potential tornado outside of Chicago and Orland Hills. We now have a brand new tornado warning that goes through Chicago Heights and then into Indiana. Remember whenever I told you guys earlier, Merrillville, Crown Point, Winfield, Cedar Lake, all of these areas need to keep an eye out for these incoming storms. Now's the time that you need to take your shelter. We gave you a warning earlier. We're giving you that warning now. Make sure that you're taking shelter if you are included in this red box right here. Judah is helping me on Facebook. Oconomowoc. Oconomowoc? Am I saying that correctly? I'm glad that we have a map here so that you can see exactly where I'm pointing to, because some of these names are a little confusing to say, but I appreciate your help. Again, we are referring to that town because of the large hail that fell there earlier. If we back up our radar here, you can see that we had tennis ball size hail reported in this area. We had golf ball size hail also reported, and another report of 2-inch size hail. These were reported by the public and some trained spotters. We still have an ongoing severe thunderstorm warning for Chicago right now. And now we're finally, as these storms are passing, we're getting a lot more reports as well. Large tree limbs down in the Cook, Illinois area. Actually, to be more specific, Indian Head Park, we've got tree limbs down. We also have numerous large tree branches down on 63rd and Main in Downers Grove. That happened right around 12:12. So 12 o'clock Central Time. In the Darien area, not only did we one more time here, not only did we get reports of tree limbs down, but we also got 2-inch size hail reported in this area, and strong wind gusts at 72 miles an hour. Strong wind, large hail reported in the Darien area.
And I want to note, Taylor, the warning that encompasses Chicago Heights, they have bumped it up again to include 90-mile-an-hour winds.
So we're starting to see that transition, right, Martin? We're starting to see that moving over from just that hail threat, tornado threat, which is in itself very, very important to keep an eye on. But now we're also starting to see that wind threat. We've already seen that come to fruition in Lombard and Darien, Illinois, and now we're continuing to see that at a more intense level for this area, everyone. Where we're talking about right here is this area that's highlighted in yellow and then outlined in that dark black color. So this includes Chicago Heights, Martin mentioned, Richton Park, Mooney, Illinois, Goodenow, and Beecher, Illinois. These strong winds, we can even tell on radar, just even on this radar right here, that we're seeing some strong winds in this area because we're starting to see this bulge from our line of storms. Anytime we start to see that backwards C-shaped That means that we're getting some strong winds in this area from Flossmoor to Chicago Heights, Richton Park, and Goodenow and Beecher, all included in that significant severe thunderstorm warning. Actually, the National Weather Service here is saying that this is a destructive storm from Park Forest, University Park, Chicago Heights, and Goodenow for 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
I do also want to note, Taylor, I'm looking at Velo right now, and this is a couple hundred feet above the ground, so this is not a 1-to-1 wind speed. So, you know, what numbers I say is not wind speeds we're having at the ground. They could be this strong, but it's not a 1-to-1. But I am seeing velos up to 100 miles an hour right now over Chicago Heights.
Wow.
So, and this is pretty close to the radar. So it is a better idea than most, but again, this does not necessarily confirm we are seeing 100-mile-an-hour winds on the ground, but this is being warned for 90 right now.
And I think that it should be warned for 90, right? If we're seeing 100-mile-per-hour wind speeds aloft, but pretty close to the radar, then that means at the surface, obviously those wind speeds are going to be a little bit weaker, but still weaker than 100 miles an hour. 90 miles an hour, that's very, very strong.
Yeah, this is only 22 miles from the radar. So we're probably looking, if I had to guess, probably about 700 to 1,000 feet in the air, which still 100 mile an hour at 1,000 feet, that's still going to translate to, I would say, at the least 80 mile an hour wind gusts at the surface. And that's a low end estimate. If we do see a 90 or even 100 mile an hour wind gust report, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, and I think that we'll probably have to wait a few minutes until we get those wind gust reports in, because what's going to happen is, of course, everyone is sheltering as they should be right now. And then after this storm passes through, then they'll come out and they'll see, oh, we have these tree limbs down, we have this down, you know, these are all the things that the storm has impacted us by. Maybe somewhere in here there's a mesonet sensor or some sort of sensor that we could get more information as well. That'll pop up a lot sooner than those actual reports will. So again, Lincoln State,
kind of take a look.
Richton Park. I do want to notice something and note to you guys here. We have one severe thunderstorm warning that goes all the way around New Lenox, Hammond. You know, this is a larger severe thunderstorm warning. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Still pretty significant, but the National Weather Service has really honed in on where they think the strongest wind is, and that is in between Flossmoor, Richton Park, Chicago Heights. So this is really what we're focusing on, but if you are outside of this polygon, you still have a lot going on around you. You probably see that or hear that outside of your window. Hopefully you are inside and protected from those storms. Orland Hills, Homer Glen, Oak Forest, all of these are still under a severe thunderstorm warning. Chicago proper also under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and a storm moving to the southeast at 40 miles an hour. Moving back up to Wisconsin, which we haven't talked about in a while, we have this severe thunderstorm warning for Sheboygan. This is for 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts and tennis ball size hail. Tennis ball size hail, holy moly, we haven't gotten an actual report of tennis ball size hail, so I'm a little skeptical about that, especially given the disorganization of this storm, but it's not out of the picture. Fond du Lac actually just got hit with a very strong hailstorm just a few weeks ago, and they're about to get hit one more time. We have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Beaver Den, West Bend, Reeseville, and Mayville. This severe thunderstorm warning is for strong wind, 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and tennis ball size hail. It does kind of make me laugh because there are no storms in this area. So I wonder if they're waiting for this storm that's moving to the south out of Oshkosh and out of Mount Calvary right now. You know, as it moves down into this area, they want people to know about it. You know, they're giving you guys just a really, really long warning time here so that you guys can get inside, make sure you're not out for lunch, and you guys can get inside and you guys can, you know, be sheltered from the storm.
So our CEO was saying that CCs are not dropping all that much, but the base reflectivity is looking really good in that storm near Tinley Park and Oak Forest. What that basically translates to is that if we do have large hail, it's going to be isolated. So that's what we're looking at right now, is very isolated large hail with that storm back up towards Wisconsin. So that's probably why they've warned it for close to that baseball-sized hail, tennis ball-sized hail, sorry. But they are mainly warning that. We're mainly warning that for very isolated up to baseball-sized hail.
We have a great question on our Facebook page. And I wonder if this question is being asked because you want me to pronounce Akan Mowak? Am I getting that correctly? Again, well, I still can't pronounce it. However, I can answer your question. Is the map final for that storm? No problem. You were close. So we have let's see, tennis ball size hail mapped on the northeastern side of the city. And then we have golf ball size hail mapped to the north of there. There's a ton of people impacted by this storm. What our meteorologists do, to answer your question, Judah, is they map the storm in near real time. So yes, that is the map that you use. But what we have is we have another meteorologist who's very, very experienced, and he goes back through and he QCs the storm, which basically means quality control. He says, is this the absolute most accurate that we can make this? And so he'll be doing that now, he'll be doing that tomorrow, and we'll just continue to make this better and better, right? Like, it's good right now, but we're going to continue to make it better and better. We're going to look for pictures, we're going to put those into our maps as we go throughout the day, and we're going to continue to keep you guys updated throughout the day as well. These are not the only storms we're going to get today. We're going to continue to see storms across Indiana and Ohio later on today as well. So thanks for joining us on this extended noon forecast. It turned into live weather coverage. We will continue to keep you guys updated on anything significant. Thanks to meteorologist Martin Larimore for also jumping in and helping with this live weather coverage. And of course, our producer, John, in the studio. We appreciate you helping us with this live coverage. We will continue to post on our social media pages different pictures and updates from storms throughout the day, and we'll hop back on live if there's anything significant that you guys need to know about. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here same time, same place for a forecast tomorrow.